minimum in showroom. Thursday, Friday, Saturday evenings. Cool.
Probably about 45 seconds.
Are you going to talk about those viral videos at all, or because that's kind of
Which ones?
the ones that you saw, the dry bar videos?
Yes, we should.
Yeah,
Let's
because
talk
they
about
went
that.
crazy. They've had 77 million views in 5 weeks.
The last 5 weeks,
Yeah.
whoa. What? Why?
Well, you can tell me. Oh, you can ask me that. How long is this? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was an hour and a half or 30
Welcome
seconds.
to Let's Talk, where Spokane Talks hosts seek out and discuss the latest on a variety of interesting topics to Spokane and North Idaho. Here's today's host, Collin Pittmann.
And we're going live now.
All right, welcome to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Collin Pittman, and I'm joined with Brad Upton, stand-up
Collin.
comedian.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks for joining me.
Absolutely.
You have kind of been all over the place, so I'm glad that you were able to make it here today. You're actually performing tonight.
Tonight I have a show. I don't even know. I should check that before I get to town.
Well-
I think it's at 8. I think it's at 8
think-
tonight.
Yes,
You have
it's
it
at
tonight?
8.
It's at
Yes,
8? Okay,
I'm your
yes,
manager here. I have
I have a show at 8 tonight.
Good.
Yep.
And you're performing through the weekend at Spokane Comedy Club,
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, Friday, 2 shows on Saturday?
2 shows Saturday.
Wow. And how long do your shows last?
Mine,
usually?
the show's about an hour and a half. I'm on stage about 55 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there another comedian?
Yeah, there'll
or-
be an MC, and he'll do 10 minutes or so, and then they
Cool.
bring up the feature act, who does about 20, and then I do about 55.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Well, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things you've done. I know you have recently done some things with SiriusXM Radio and HBO Comedy Festival, and you actually, I was researching you on
Right.
YouTube, and I saw some dry bar videos that have gone insanely viral. You said, I think, 77 million
Yeah, it's been
views.
amazing. In the last 5 weeks, the dry bar comedy, which now I think a lot of people are aware of,
Yeah.
dropped one on to like June 18th or something. It got 12 million views in the first 48 hours. And I think today it is hitting 50 million. That video is hitting 50 million views. It went all the way around the world. I have a bunch of fans now in India. And someone told me, I don't know if this is true or not, someone told me they thought it was the most popular viral stand-up video ever of any stand-up.
That is so cool.
So yeah, it's gone crazy. I've had my friends list on Facebook went from I had a Facebook fan page which I never paid attention to. I didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
I had 300 fans and I barely ever posted anything. I have 10,000 fans.
And that just happened within the last
Last 5 weeks.
That is
and then
crazy.
And then they released a second one because that one went crazy, and they released the second one. That one's at 24 million.
24 million.
And then
You're like an overnight sensation.
Yeah, after 32 years full-time comedy, and then all of a
That's all-
sudden,
that-
this guy's great. He's brand new. No. I'm not brand new.
Not brand new.
I've been here for a long time. You just found me.
That is so funny. And what prompted you to get into stand-up?
I wanted to do it. I mean, I was always attracted to it, and when I was high school and college. But you don't know if you're living in Pasco, Washington. You don't know how you're going to get into it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Comedy was starting to boom in the early '80s, and then I just went, I want to try it. I want to try it. I was teaching fourth graders in Pasco, and then I went to Seattle and did an open mic, and then it went great the first time I got on stage, and then for 2 years I balanced the two. I started doing comedy. There wasn't any in the Tri-Cities. I had to come to Spokane, or I had
Okay.
to go to Seattle and do open mics. And then in June of '86 I quit teaching, and I've been doing this ever since.
That's great. How many shows do you try to do a week? I mean, you probably can build your own schedule a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a good question because I kept track. I didn't start out in comedy to keep track of how many shows, but I kept track. And probably September, I'm going to do my 6,000th show.
Wow.
I did in about 1990. I did 306 shows in 250 nights. But now I do about 120, 125 shows a year, which is about one every 3 days
Right.
on average. But
Right.
that's about what I do. I do about 120 shows a year now.
Does it ever get old for you, or do you try to like change things up, or does the audience do you just kind of feed off the audience?
Oh, absolutely. And there's times when you're at home and you're like, oh, I don't want to get in traffic and drive there. And you know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah,
any other job.
like
At
any
some
other
point, you're
job.
like, oh, I don't want to go to work.
Right.
But once you get to, it's like any other job. When you get to work and all right, I can,
I can do this.
It's just the commute more than
Right.
the once you're there, and then it's like
Gotta
showtime and
go
you're
to
excited.
work.
And there's never a time goes by when I'm on stage that I don't feel lucky that I'm doing what I'm doing.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what gives you inspiration to come up with stand-up acts, to make the jokes that you do? Where do you pull all that from?
That's just everyday stuff. It's experience. It's just doing things all day and things that you think, oh, that would be funny. I think, and I've said this before, I think a lot of people are pretty funny or think of funny things, but they don't have an outlet to go create it and perform it and build it. But I think there's people all the time when you think, oh, that is so stupid, that's so ridiculous, that would make a good joke. But, unless you're a comic, you don't have an outlet to go do that. But I think
Right.
a lot of people are that way.
Right.
But I have the luck to be able to get on stage or let something just tumble through my head for a few days, and I think there's something funny there. There's a joke there. What is it? What is it? And I'll let it
Right.
percolate in my head for a while until I finally come up with the way to get to the joke or to sell the joke.
Do you ever come up with anything on the spot?
Oh, yeah.
As you're
On stage,
Yeah.
created on stage.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I'm more, some comics are like that a lot. I stick to the script a little more.
Yeah.
I know before I go on stage what material I'm going to do.
Right.
But then there's always the chance to call an audible and, scramble out of the pocket and go a different direction.
Right.
So that happens sometimes. Yeah, I've had some stuff once in a while where I've written or created something on stage. It's kind of fun. And the audience is very well aware that, oh, he just came up with that right then. And then they're like, that was pretty good.
So what's your favorite thing about, I won't say Spokane alone, but this area, this region?
Well, I'm so familiar with it. I went to school here. I went to Spokane Community College for 2 years.
Okay.
And then I went to the University of Montana for 1 year. And then I transferred back and I went to Eastern for 2 years. I crammed 4 years of college into 5. And then I graduated from Eastern. So I'm familiar. Coming back here is great.
Right.
That's what I like about being back in Spokane.
Are you going to talk about that tonight?
Oh, yeah, probably. Certain things. Some things haven't changed.
Some
So
stories you might not.
Oh, there's some stories I'm not going to tell, but maybe the time's up by now. I probably could tell the stories now.
Well, and I see here that you have to be 21 and older to get into the show with a valid ID.
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
I'm going to check it. I mean, I believe
Yeah,
you,
check on
and
that.
if it says that on the website, but I thought you could be under 21.
Well, maybe they figure, he's got college content. They might not. They might not be ready.
That's the thing about the dry bar is that it's clean, it's squeaky clean, and I think that's why it reverberated so well with the public was that it's clean comedy. That's their thing, dry bar, and it's any age can watch it. They may not understand it, but they can watch it. There's nothing foul. There's no bad language, and that thing took off and went crazy. And now I've got all kinds of people.
So as a millennial myself, what are some of the things that you joke about or laugh at millennials?
Well, the fact that you don't look up from your phone when you use a crosswalk. It's
That is
just like,
true,
It's just
actually.
like, we're going to eliminate some of these kids really quickly. Because, if you watch the video, I said when I was growing up, our parents let us play with guns and knives and fireworks. You know what happened to the dumb kids? They didn't make it. These kids grew up and now they're walking out into the traffic,
Right.
looking at their phones.
Right?
And what else do they like? Energy drinks. How much energy do you need at your age? They should be selling those at the old folks' home. That's the target market. A couple of monsters and a Red Bull going to pick up that bingo game. I'm sure of it.
They'd be all jittery and
B19 bingo, that's mine.
oh my goodness. I think we're so instantaneous too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to be able to connect with people instantly and on the spot. And I think that because of that, we're not very patient.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. I mean, I've been at a baseball game the last 2 nights, and everybody's just sitting there on the phones at the baseball game. They're not watching the baseball game, and it's like, and you know what? I'm as bad as they are. They're addictive. The phones are addictive.
Yeah.
You ever lose your phone? That's a panic attack. I lost my kid at the mall one time. I didn't panic like that because I have 2 kids.
Right. You had a
Yeah,
backup.
I got a backup kid.
My goodness. Yeah, excuse me. No, I really think that we're just so impatient, and because of that, if we can't find something on social media or text someone instantly, then in other aspects of life we become really impatient for things
yeah.
too.
Mhm.
Like getting that nicer car or
Yeah.
all of those things.
Yeah, I think social media has been the greatest thing in the world and the worst thing in the world. Do you know what I mean? In some
Yeah.
ways, it's kind of been really a benefit. In some ways, you're like, this is awful.
You ever just laugh at some of the things that people post? You're like,
Oh,
why is
constantly.
this even on social media
Oh,
at all?
yeah. Well, somebody posted a meme the other day that said, "I'm glad I did all my stupid stuff." That the internet wasn't around when I was young, because none of my stupid stuff was
documented.
posted. Oh, I'm the same way. I'm like, oh, there's so much stuff I did here in Spokane when I was in college age. I'm glad that doesn't exist.
That is funny. Well, what are some of the things that you do talk about, or you really try to relate with people? What are some of those topics that you try to hit on?
I do a lot of stuff about, it's pretty easy to do, about a long-term marriage and my kids and relationships like that. And then a lot of it's just topical things that traffic, stuff that we all go through. That's what I'm always looking at.
See, so like I'm trying to come up with something on the spot too, and I have nothing.
Oh, I
So
bet
it's
you
like,
do. I bet that's not true. I bet you can come up with some stuff.
I don't know. I like a traffic joke. Okay, traffic. You're sitting in traffic. I hate sitting in
Oh,
traffic.
well, how about traffic circles when you're sitting there watching people come up?
Roundabouts?
Roundabouts. Oh, they're just the worst because they built them and they didn't teach anybody how they work.
And does anyone know really how to use a roundabout?
Right, well,
like really know how to use
Most people
a
come up
roundabout?
and they're too tentative to come, and you should be aggressive when you come to the. You know what I mean?
But we're also
Hit
scared.
that
We're like,
hole like Marshawn Lynch. You know what I mean? Just get in there and
are
go.
you gonna go or am I gonna
Oh,
go? Or are you? Yeah.
That's the thing, is they took out a four-way stop.
Yeah.
And then they put in a roundabout, and it's still a four-way stop. That's what kills me about
True.
those things.
It
It's
is
like,
true.
oh, you spent all this money on this, and
And you're seeing a lot more of them now too.
oh, they're everywhere. Yeah.
And even this morning I noticed that the freeway was starting to get backed up, so people were taking exits and
Right.
going on the side streets.
Right.
Well, then the side streets were backed up, and then that freeway got somewhat cleared out in that one section because people left on the
Right.
exit. So I just stayed on the freeway.
Right. See, you're figuring out how to write these jokes because that's your observations. Those are
there
your
you go.
observations. Yeah.
Maybe that's my calling, stand-up comedian.
Yeah. It's
I
going
don't
to take a
think
while.
so.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, it'll take a while.
It takes
that's
a
for
long
sure.
time. Some people think that comedy's easy because it looks easy. That's the thing. A lot of people try it because if comedy's done well, it looks really easy.
Sure.
And I always tell people, well, then get up there and do it. See how easy it looks, because you're probably going to fail at the beginning.
So you mentioned that you do long-term marriage
Right.
jokes. Are those the easiest, you think, because you're most familiar with?
Yeah,
with
and
that?
my kids now and my wife understand that they're jokes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a couple of things where my family goes,
Think a little
really,
bitter.
you got to do that joke. I'm like, it's just a joke.
It's just
I
funny.
exaggerated it. I told the story.
So what are some of those things? Now I'm curious.
Well, my daughter, this is completely fictitious. I do it in my act about. I sent my daughter a text, and I don't send very many, and I finished it with TTFN, and then, which is ta-ta for now. Then I wrote DAD, and she comes home. I go, "Did you get my text message?" She goes, "What does DAD stand for?" I was like, "Oh, come on, it stands for Dad." And she said, "Oh, I thought it was dumbass dude."
Dumbass.
Oh,
Okay.
it's a good one, honey.
There you
also
go.
stands for dumbass daughter. But that's completely fictitious. I didn't do that. Never happened. It never occurred. I just wrote that joke. My daughter's
You
like,
came up with it.
My daughter's like, I never did that. I go, I know, but it's a great joke.
I love that.
I have to put that in the act. Now she's like, okay, I get it.
That is
I
great.
go, I'm paying your tuition, so it stays in my act.
The privileges of being a
Right.
dad.
That's right.
And something that I always wonder about musicians and comedians is you're constantly on almost tours, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You're performing at different events. Do you find that trying to balance your home life and your family life between being on the road and doing all these different things is hard?
Yeah, that's a good question, too. I mean, you'd never stop touring. And at the end of every year, I literally get my calendar out and I count how many nights did I stay in my own bed or how many nights was I on the road. and I'm gone about a third of the year, which means I'm home 2/3 of the year. So for me, it's not that bad. I mean,
Right.
I'm gone 3 days and home for 3 and gone for a week, and then I'm home for 2 weeks. You know, so
Right.
it's not bad.
Right.
And I think if I'm home too long, my wife's like, well, it's time for you to leave for a few days. She gets sick of it, you know what I mean? And even when my kids were little, I had more FaceTime with my kids growing up than a guy that, you know, if a dad gets up and leaves the house at 7 a.m. and he doesn't see his kids in the morning because he's gone to work, and then he gets home at 7 p.m. and then they play from 7 to 9 and they put him to bed. So he sees his kids 2 hours a day, right?
Right.
Well, when I'm home, I'm there in the morning. I get them up for school. I get them breakfast. I walk them to the bus stop. When they get off the bus, I'm standing at the bus at 2:30.
Right.
I walk them home. You know, so I'm there. I know that even though I may be gone for 4 days, when I'm home, I'm there all day. So,
Right.
because if I have to work that night, I just leave at night. But
Well, and now you can FaceTime,
FaceTime,
a
yeah.
little different version of FaceTime.
no,
but
right?
you
No,
can do it.
and that's good. That's a connection. That's one of the pluses of the phones is you do have a connection with your
It
kids
is.
now. You can sit there and talk to your
It
kids.
makes traveling easier because
Yeah.
you do still feel connected, like you're not
Absolutely.
worlds apart.
And the kids still feel like, you know, dad's just a phone call away. They can talk to
Mm-hmm.
dad almost any time.
I think it's interesting now as like my grandparents' generation
Mm-hmm.
are beginning to get phones because it wasn't like that for
Right.
so long. Now it's kind of weird. I'm slowly adjusting to that, but
Watching your grandparents
Yeah,
text and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
my grandpa the other day called it faxing. I'm sending a fax. I'm sending a quick fax.
You're like,
I got a kick
yeah,
out of
okay.
that. Yeah,
Thanks, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Close enough.
right, close enough.
I taught my mom, my mom's 88. I taught her how to text. It was, you know, she's just banging that phone like
They
it's
do.
like it's an old typewriter. And I'm like, oh no, just touch.
Maybe
tap,
that is
tap,
why
tap.
they-
You know those old typewriters where you had to physically hit those. My mom's just putting her finger through the phone. I'm like, hey, it's like, you don't have to punch it.
We're gonna have to get a screen protector
Yeah,
for
exactly.
you, Grandma, because
Yeah.
you're gonna go right through the screen. That is funny. All right, Brad, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Best of luck tonight
Thank
and
you
all
so much.
weekend long. I'm really excited to hear what people think. I'm a little bummed that I can't go because I'm not 21.
I know. I'll
We're
look
gonna have
into
to get
that.
that rule changed.
If I find out it's different, I'll let you know.
Oh, please.
Okay.
Please do. All right, I hope you check it out this weekend at the Spokane Comedy Club, Brad Upton, and check out his dry bar videos on YouTube because they're pretty funny. And like you said, a ton of views. I was amazed to see.
50 million on one
50
video.
million.
50 million.
Gosh, we need to get 50 million on a Spokane Talks video.
There you go.
Right, Vinny?
That's right.
Yeah, I agree. All right, thanks for joining us on Let's Talk. We'll see you next time.
Let's Talk is produced in Spokane, Washington by Spokane Talks Media, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksMedia.com. We wish you a great day.